going on, everybody? We are live for the UFC Vegas 112 weigh-in recap. Manel Kape taking on Brandon Royval. We're going to take a look at these fighters at the weigh-ins, the face-offs, lock in the picks, lock in the bets. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, drop a W in the chat, and let's get the video started. First fight of the night, we got Teresa BLEDÁ taking on Jamie Lynn HORTH. I am still rocking with my pick of Teresa BLEDÁ. I think, well, you'll see it on the scales. She is the larger fighter. I think they kind of fight similarly, but I do favor Teresa BLEDÁ's ground game. I think she can find Jamie Lynn. I think she'll be able to take down Jamie Lynn HORTH, and I think she will be able to get her in some compromised positions. I like her submission game. I like her striking a little bit more than Jamie Lynn. Jamie Lynn is pretty hard and scrappy to, get out of the octagon. I don't think she will finish her, but I wouldn't be surprised if she has her caught in a sneaky submission, something maybe like a triangle, or even I think she could get to the back for a couple of moments throughout the fight. But I am going to take BLEDÁ. I know she's coming off, a 2-year layoff. It could shy some people away. It was a staph infection in her finger and then one in her knee, but she's young. She's still fighting. She can recover pretty quick. I think this is a really good bounce back spot for her. Pretty identical matchup if you look at, pretty much the physicals, other than the 2-inch difference. But when you see them on the scales and at the face-off, you'll be like, man, which is which? But I'm able to tell. That's why I'm here breaking it down for you. Make sure you guys read the names if you're gonna bet on this fight. I don't think I have much of anything going on in this fight at all. But I'm gonna rock with BLEDÁ. I'm gonna take the youth, and I think she could pull off a decision here. Let's get to the scales. You can see here we got Teresa BLEDÁ. Looking pretty solid. Young woman, 24 years old. Looks ready to go. Nothing that causes a concern for me. And then here we got Jamie Lynn at the weigh-ins. Funny enough, there's no picture for the face-off. So I'll drop it in for you guys. I don't know what MMA Junkie got going on. So I'll pull it up for you guys now. You should be able to see it. And these ladies literally look, identical to each other. Same stature, both long, lanky, tall, thin women for their division. But I'm going to rock with BLEDÁ. I think she gets it done. Decision, maybe a submission, but I wouldn't, go all out and hammer a submission prop or anything like that. But Teresa BLEDÁ is the pick. Let's go ahead and look at the odds. -170 on the money line, +145 for Jamie Lynn. Over 2.5 definitely makes sense. -325. It's a ladies fight most of the time. That number is going to hit. Let's see. BLEDÁ via submission. Did I pass it? I did not. Let's go ahead and scroll. Here we go. BLEDÁ via submission, +500. So nothing crazy. BLEDÁ decision makes the most sense in my mind, +140. Maybe we could get a takedown prop. BLEDÁ to land the most takedowns. We get -500. So yeah, nothing there. But yeah, I'm going to rock with Jamie Lynn HORTH. I'm going to rock with Teresa BLEDÁ to win this decision or submission. I'll lean decision, though. Maybe I'll start, for 2026, I'll start tracking my picks in Tapology so you guys can keep up with it, too, if you're not, if you want to follow along or something like that, or compete with me. Maybe I'll introduce that as a new segment. Next fight, though. FRYE taking on Guilherme Pat. I'm going with Pat. I just think he's a little bit more technical on the feet. I know AJ is more of a athlete. I'm hearing that he used to play basketball in college or high school or something in that order, but I can't overlook him, damn near he was getting tossed around in that last fight against Justin Frazier. If you look at Justin Frazier, he's kind of built like a damn, I'm trying not to be rude, but a deep freezer. Like this is a really good picture of him. And if you go back and look at the matchup, I think he took like a couple years off before he jumped back on. Yeah, 2019 came back 2025 and lost to Alan FRYE, but he was ragged on him around, taking him down, catching him with a couple of boxing combinations until FRYE was able to get the stoppage. But both of these guys, low-level competition. I like the stand-up more from Guilherme. I think he's a little bit more technical. He kind of reminds me of like Caio Baio on the feet with that karate stance. They dart in, dart out, kind of stand a little tall, which could be a cause for concern against like a heavy slugger in the heavyweight division. But I don't think Alan FRYE is the guy. you never know betting on this fight. This is damn near a contender series fight, 6-0, 5-0. We got a lot of inexperienced fighters on this card, but I'm going to rock with Guilherme. I like what I've seen on the tape compared to Alan Fry. He's been able to carry his power for 3 rounds, too. If you go back and watch that Quiro's fight, he was able to find that stoppage in the last round. Broke the guy's nose. He was able to reset it, and then later that round, he ended up getting a TKO stoppage. But I'm going to rock with Guilherme. I think he gets it done. I'm going to favor the technical guy versus the athlete. Here we go on the scales. You can see Pat. This is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how he looked on the scale because I was concerned about, some juice, and maybe that, that little thing on his chest, maybe that is the juice button. But he looks pretty good on the scale. No cause for concern. Came in around like 242, something of that order, 232, something like that. And here's AJ, excuse me. Definitely looks a little less lean than I would have thought he would. He looked a little better in that Justin Frazier fight, but heavyweights. Came in 242. Didn't really look like he was enthused to be there. Not really sure how this matchup plays out for him. And again, no face-off picture. I'm not sure what MMA Junkie got going on because that is something that I wanted to see, but I will pull it up for you guys now. And you see slight little height difference for Pat. You can see the muscularity between the two. Definitely looks like Pat is in better shape. But again, sometimes it's not about who looks the best. It's about who performs the best. So I'm going to lean Pat Guilherme. I think he gets it done. Like I said, I favor the technicality. I think his striking is a little bit more precise. I think AJ is going to come in, throw a lot of flurries, and I think he's going to get countered, something over the top. I do have the under 1.5 as a most confident pick for this fight. Both of these guys debuting, I think, are going to try and, put on a show. They're heavyweights too, so could get a little frisky. I don't think these guys are going to be hesitant on the feet at all. So under 1.5, now it's at minus 145. I think that's pretty solid. It hasn't been getting bet down. A lot of people are smashing the over. It was at plus 170, but I don't know, man. I'm on the other side. I think we go under. Minus 175, plus 150 for AJ FRYE. Guilherme, KO, plus 100. FRYE, KO, plus 185. Really a toss-up. I don't think we're getting a submission or anything like that. Pat, round 1, plus 155. FRYE, round 1, plus 325. I do think this fight ends round 1, early round 2. So, like I said, under 1.5, I think it's pretty it's a pretty solid pick for me. Rocking with Guilherme. Next fight, we got Luana Santos, the OnlyFans model, taking on Melissa CRODEN. I have been picking Melissa. I'm going to rock with Melissa. I favor the pressure. I think she's a little bit better in the striking. Luana Santos, she gets a little wild and chaotic on the feet, in my opinion, if she's not able to get the wrestling going. And I don't think she's going to be able to against a taller, more physical woman in Melissa CRODEN, who's kind of like a bully from what I've seen in that Lisboa fight. I will say, maybe you look at, a round 2, round 3 TKO prop for CRODEN, but again, betting on women is kind of funky. Maybe not. Just stick on the money line if you are on CRODEN. I do like CRODEN. She is in a couple plays. I don't think I have anything on her straight. I'm going to have to look again, but I don't think Santos is going to be able to take her down. I think CRODEN is going to be the more physical one. I think she can control the clinch exchanges. I think she can get her knees going, her elbows going. I think she'll be able to be on the pressure. I think she starts a little early too. A lot of people are saying that, CRODEN was looking a little hesitant on the feet in that first matchup with Lisboa. But Lisboa is a pretty solid Muay Thai striker, and I will say that was her debut. So maybe it was just a debut, and then, she's got somebody in her face that's not going to shy away. Santos will prance around the octagon a little bit more than a Lisboa. She's not going to engage in the striking like a Lisboa. So I think CRODEN will be able to hunt her down, get her. They are in the, the smaller apex cage, so I think she'll be able to close the octagon off a lot better and maybe inflict some more damage early. But I'm leaning CRODEN. I don't think Santos is going to be able to take her down. I think she's going to be more physical and landing the better shots. So that's the pick. Let's get to the scale. Luana Santos, pretty lady. Definitely a pretty lady, but I don't think looks get you a W in this business. No issues on the scale for her. Here's Melissa. Long, lanky, looks pretty good as well. And here's the face-off. You can see CRODEN slightly taller, skinnier build for sure. Luana's pretty strong, but I don't think she's like the strongest, female. She did fight down at, what are they? This is 125, right? So yeah, so she fought at 125. There's a 135 bout. So like I said, I don't think she's super strong or anything like that. I think CRODEN comes in with the strength advantage. I think she'll be able to bully her a little bit in certain clinch situations. I think she'll be the one to end up on top if they do wrestle. I like CRODEN's physicality in this matchup. Let's get to the odds. We got CRODEN at plus 110. Luana Santos minus 130. I get it, UFC experience, but I'm going to lean on the Canadian fighter. Over 1.5, I will say, oh, wow, it's plus money. Wrong fight. I was about to say, whoa, smash that. Over 1.5 minus 500, over 2.5 minus 240. Could be a little testy. Like I said, I do think CRODEN could find. Has Luana been finished before? I know she lost to Casey. Nope, never been finished. But I don't know, man. I think she could get tired. I've seen her tired before in fights, so that kind of concerns me. Cardio, CRODEN pressure, CRODEN takedowns, CRODEN knees in the clinch. I don't know. I would say over 1.5 is more safe than a 2.5, but it is a women's fight. You could play it. Maybe she doesn't find a finish. Maybe she just has her hurt, rocked a couple of times. CRODEN inside the distance plus 335. Santos decision plus 120. CRODEN decision plus 250. So solid money on that. CRODEN round 2, round 3 plus 950, plus 900. I think chasing props in this one isn't the way to go. Just straight money line is definitely got some line movement. Plus 125, minus 145 for the money line on CRODEN. So I definitely like plus 125 on Melissa CRODEN. But she is the pick. I'm going to favor her. I think her size, physicality gets it done in this matchup. Next fight, we got SHARAAF taking on Steven ASPLUND. I'm going with the guy that used to be 500 pounds, Steven ASPLUND. Hits hard, hence his name, Concrete. I think when they, meet in the center, I think Concrete is going to be the guy to lay SHARAAF down. I would have gave SHARAAF a little bit more respect had he had more success with the takedowns against Junior Tafa. He did get him taken out once. Almost got a TKO stoppage, but he went 1 for 8, and Junior Tafa's takedown defense is terrible. You're going to need some really good, wrestling abilities. You go back and look at the Denzel Freeman loss. Denzel Freeman's pretty well-rounded, pretty solid. I know his debut looked pretty boring, but I think he is better than SHARAAF. I think he should beat him, pretty cleanly. But I'm going to take Concrete. I think he hits a lot harder. I think he's going to be a bully in the octagon. I don't think SHARAAF is going to be able to mix it up with him. Don't get me wrong. He will have, a couple of moments where he lands some decent shots, but I think Steven ASPLUND is just, it's round 1 KO in my opinion. I don't think SHARAAF is going to have a lot for him. I see SHARAAF backing up. I know he has some pretty good movement for the heavyweight division, but I think he's going to get chinned. I think he's going to get caught, and I think it's coming round 1. So ASPLUND is the pick. And here's the big body on the scale. Dude is large. A lot of people, a lot of people, would look at this body and be like, well, I'll tell you about it at the face-offs because it's not a good body to look at. I'll tell you that much. Baggy, saggy, droopy mess. But dude is solid. Salute to him. I'd salute people that, lose that amount of weight. That lose weight, period. But that amount of weight is definitely impressive. But I'll tell you more about it at the face-off. Here is SHARAAF. 252 came in. Nobody's missing weight here. Some big bodies for sure, though. Here's the face-off. Like I was saying, really baggy, saggy body. But when you trim that amount of weight, it's not going to completely turn into muscle right away. It will look like this, but I'm pretty sure he's strong as a damn ox. And if you're rocking that type of haircut, you got to be as strong as the ox. So I'm going Steven ASPLUND to win round 1 KO. It makes the most sense in my opinion. I don't think we're seeing another round out of these two guys. Plus 205 for Sean, minus 240 for Steven ASPLUND on the money line. Under half a round was definitely live plus 280. It could be the first punch. You never know. So I think I might invest in that. Fight does not start round 2 is wow, minus 115. I think that's solid. Fight ends in round 1, minus 115. ASPLUND KO, minus 135. Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. ASPLUND, round 1, KO. Let's get to the next fight. We also did have we got 2 fights added to this card, so you know, you can see one of them now. BRITO getting a replacement. But the next fight we got is MAGNY versus Yaroslav Amosov. I am rocking with Amosov to make good on his debut. A lot of Bellator guys don't, Bellator guys in their debut win what? Who was the first Bellator guy to win their debut? It wasn't Pitbull, it wasn't Patchy. Keita's not Bellator, but he didn't even make his debut. I can't think of Aaron Pico lost, so it's been a rough year for Bellator, but I think Amosov comes through. I think he's probably the best guy of that crop. Definitely think he's better than Patchy. Definitely think he's more complete than Aaron Pico. But this is a really good test. This is a really good hard test for him to debut in the UFC. But MAGNY, I don't really think he's dangerous. I've faded him every single time. He's beat me every single time. But I think this is the course correction fight. You go back and you look at the Jake Matthews fight. He was locked in the sub in that first round. He was submitted. Some funky stuff going on in that fight. I actually had Jake Matthews by submission as a play, and that really pissed me off. But ended up getting the Darce choke in that round, that third round. He was looking pretty bad against Elizeo early, and then Elizeo gassed out, and he found the TKO. But I think this is a course correction fight. I think Yaroslav's got that really good wrestling pedigree. I think he's nasty with his submissions. I think he's got decent hands too. MAGNY doesn't have power to keep guys off of him. He does, have a solid pace to him, but I think Amosov's going to be able to control more of the elements in this fight than a MAGNY. So I'm going Amosov. He's a pretty solid pick for me. Not really hesitating to pick a MAGNY here. Let's get to the scales. Here is Amosov looking pretty solid on the scale. Really lean for the welterweight division. I would say that he kind of reminds me of Dulatov. He was a guy who made his debut earlier too. I'm waiting to see him fight again. There's a lot of good fights announced yesterday too. If you guys don't keep up, we got CHEWKU versus Jacoby Smith for the Houston card, I want to say. I'm really interested in that fight because I want to see the lines. Because if it's gonna do what I think it's gonna do, then we got a really solid pick there. But yeah, back to this one. Amosov looking pretty solid. MAGNY, Haitian sensation, always looking good. Always shredded, always ready to go. Here's the face-off. I like the height. Amosov doesn't look, small in there compared. I definitely think he's taller than a Jake Matthews. I don't think the range is gonna give him any issues. Excuse me. I think he's gonna be pretty solid in this matchup. So I got Amosov. You can slide him into a confident pick for me. So that's what, 3, 4 now. Yeah, 3 or 4 now, I believe. So yeah, Amosov, confident pick. We're riding the fade MAGNY train yet again. Let's get to the odds. Minus 400, plus 300 on the money line. I get it. I want to see what Amosov's sub is. Plus 170. Yeah, nothing crazy. TKO plus 325. Decision 200. A decision wouldn't be crazy, but I really do think it's a submission. I could see if he, smashes the debut, round 1 plus 225, submission round 1 plus 4. So it's nothing crazy, but trying to find different ways to make money on this fight. You know what I'm saying? Under 1.5 plus 160, under 2.5 minus 115. That's probably a little safer in my opinion. Yeah, maybe just a sub prop. Don't really want to chase the round because I don't know, man. MAGNY's been finished in the first round before. He's been finished in round 2. He's been finished in round 3. He's not a hard guy to finish. Pretty easy to get submission wins over. He's got 6 submission losses. So it's really, pick your poison with Neil Magny. What a stable of the welterweight division. Don't get me wrong, but I've never been a real fan of Neil Magny. Let's get to the next fight. We got Joanderson Brito taking on Isaac Thompson. I don't like this fight for Brito, I'm going to be honest. You know, he was preparing for Melsick, who is a kickboxer. He will stay, you know, on the outside. He'll prance around, he'll throw some kicks, he'll mix it in the hands. But Thompson is really well-rounded, man. He's got the goods to give Brito a lot of trouble. And, you know, Brito was going to be a most confident pick up until, you know, the fight got canceled. I think this is more of a 50-50 fight now. Because if Brito's not unable to get Thompson down or, you know, really capitalize on the boxing, it's going to be a tough fight. Thompson, he darts in range really good. He gets his combinations flowing. He's got really good wrestling. He's got solid back takes. He's young. He's athletic. He's not coming off an ACL injury. There's a lot of factors to this fight, man. I don't know how confident I am in a Brito right now against a debuting guy who looked really good on a scale too. You see him on a scale. Let's go to the scales, because then I think I'll be able to make a pick, and especially the face-off. So here's Thompson, looking pretty good. You know, you can see the abs on the side. What do they call it? Obliques. You can see the abs poking. Dude's got a tiny face. Like, he's got a large head with a tiny face, kind of like squished in, but he looked pretty good on the scale, man. His last fight, he looked really good. Here's Brito with the shades. So, you know, he sucked down a little bit. Looks really good on the scale too, though. Brito's always been a powerhouse. Here is the face-off. Thompson a little taller. That kind of concerns me. What's the reach? The reach is 72.5 to 72, so nothing really there. 5'11 to 5'8". I'm going to... This is a hard one. I'm gonna trust Brito, but keep your money for this fight. It's really dog or pass, but keep your money. I don't know. This is a really tough fight. I'm gonna trust Brito, but even as I'm saying it, I'm like, nah, man, jump on Thompson. He's young. There's a lot of guys who made a short notice debut, and you know they were able to make the most of it. He's coming off a win over EV. You know, his one loss. Well, he's got two losses. Split decision loss. Let's see. And he's been knocked out. Knocked out in 2021. I'm going to trust Brito. He's got heavy hands. He's got good pressure. He was preparing for the card already. I'm going to trust Brito. I'm not super confident. You could tell in my voice, but minus 218 on the money line, plus 188, but he opened up as a plus 525 dog. So if you guys got in on that, you know, before this video, before it's already bet all the way down, and you know, maybe you're sitting on the gym, maybe, you know, he's gonna look like a plus 525 dog. I think we go over 1.5. They're gonna have to figure out each other. I don't think, you know, Brito is coming out guns blazing trying to storm him out of there. He's a young kid. He's pretty athletic. He's got good movement. So I see over 1.5. That's pretty solid. Brito decision plus 275. Thompson decision plus 400. Brito sub plus 325. I don't know, man. Yeah, just keep your money. I don't know which way to go for this fight, honestly. I think Thompson's really good. I don't think he has like the wrestling of Pat Sabatini, but he does have some solid wrestling. He's got some decent striking. I like his boxing a lot. BRITO does swing wild at times. I'm gonna trust BRITO. And if I lose, I lose. You know, it is what it is. It's just a pick. No investments on that fight whatsoever. Next fight, Amanda Lemos taking on Jillian Robertson. This is one that I feel, a lot more confident than a BRITO pick. Jillian Robertson is the pick. I think Robertson is going to pass the Lemos test. I know Lemos, she's 38, but she's still been hanging around, with the ladies of today. Last loss to Tatiana Suarez, where she did finish some really good takedowns. Win over Yasmin Lucindo, where Lucindo gassed out late in that fight. Lost to Verna, who was a title challenger. Beat Mackenzie Dern, beat her with some really good punches too. And then a loss to Zhang Weili. Robertson, the competition does not compare whatsoever. But what I will say is I think she mixes in the wrestling and the striking a lot better than Tatiana. Tatiana is really just, it's wrestling or die with her. I don't think she offers much on the feet. She does a lot of her work, with the ground and pound. I think Jillian mixes it in a lot more smoother. She will sit and strike with you for quite a while. I don't think it would be smart of her to do that with Amanda, but I think she will get Amanda comfortable with striking exchanges for a good minute or two in between the rounds, and then throw in the wrestling, and that's how she can surprise Amanda. Amanda knows she's going to wrestle. This is also a short notice fight for Amanda. It was 5 weeks, not really short notice like a Thompson or Gibson Jr., but still, she's had some time to prepare. But Jillian was preparing for a better a better striker in Yasmin Lucindo, who I think she can skirt around the ring, pretty fast, pretty accurate with her striking. I like Jillian Robertson in this matchup. Like I said, I think she mixes in the wrestling quite well. She will, rock Amanda Lemos into a striking engagement and then find the grappling. And when she gets on top of you, she's really hard to get off. She can find submissions. She can find, ground and pound success. I like Jillian Robertson in this fight. I think, she's going to pass the Amanda Lemos 38-year-old dog test. So give me Amanda, or give me Amanda. Give me Jillian to win decision or submission is the official pick. Let's get to the scales. You can see Jillian. I forgot what that's called, but I know it's something that she's throwing up. Whatever it is, throw it up, girl. Rocking the the Phoenix from Marvel. She always going with the red hair, old Canada. And here's Amanda, looking pretty solid. 38 years old, always ready to go, ready to rock. Really good shape for her too. Here's a face off. Amanda's got a much smaller head than Jillian. Could be a little hard to be accurate against that head. Now I see why she likes to strike. But I'm rocking with Jillian, man. Like I said, I think she'll be able to mix it in a lot better than what Tatiana was doing. So I think she finds better success. Let's get to the odds. Minus 200 on the money line, plus 170. I would say this is more of like a coin flip than minus 205. Lines moving again. Maybe I should refresh the page just to make sure we got the most accurate lines. Minus 205, yeah. Over 2.5, minus 135. Wow. So slight expect of a finish. Yeah, fight ends inside the distance. Kind of shocking. But like I said, submission or decision is the pick for me. Robertson inside the distance plus 140. Submission plus 225. TKO plus 450. I think I played the submission in that Marina Rodriguez fight. And she ended up getting a TKO. So I think just inside the distance, if you are on the Robertson finish side, plus 140 is the way to go. But I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see that the over is only minus 135 and what could be, a tough fight. She went 3 rounds with Mackenzie Dern. who some would say is like a more evolved version of Jillian Robertson, but I don't think Dern really has the striking. She looked a lot better, I will say, in her fight against Verna, but Verna is a pure grappler. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna rock with Jillian. I think she gets it done. Let's get to the main card opener. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got King Green taking on Lance Gibson Jr. Lance Gibson, short notice step in. This fight was made, I want to say Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, Monday or Tuesday. Green was preparing to fight on his card. Who was he supposed to fight? He was supposed to fight. Oh, I thought he had a fight. Guess not. So he just knew he was going to be on the card. He was supposed to fight Diego Ferreira last time. What card was that? It was a couple cards ago. And he pulled out. I think he couldn't walk or something like that. I remember vaguely what the injury was, but we didn't really hear much after that. But what I will say, Bobby Green has not beat somebody younger than him in 2 years and 2 months. Grant Dawson. And it was at the first punch that he threw, right? Jalen Turner viciously knocked him out. He beat Jim Miller, who was 43, 42 at the time, 40 years old, something like that. Lost to Petty Pimblett, got put to sleep. Mauricio Rufy put him to sleep. Now, granted, this is a complete step down compared to all three of those guys. Lance Gibson is not, touching any of the three that just beat him, but does have youth. I think he has size. It's definitely more physical than a Bobby Green. I don't think Bobby Green's hands are as fast as they used to be. He doesn't have the best defense, the best striking defense. His hands are always down. His wrestling defense isn't really looking that good today either. I'm liking Lance Gibson in this spot. I know it's short notice, but he looked really good on the scale. He looked prepared. He looked ready to go. And MMA Junkie is fumbling the picks again, man. Damn. Making me do my work. So I'm going to have to get Lance Gibson pick. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, he looked really good on the scale. He's really athletic. He's, primarily a wrestler, but he's got some decent hands too. He's coming off of a rare naked sub off of RJ Ho. It was a year ago. This win is a little questionable though. Win. It was a knockout against a 19-42 guy though, but got knocked out nearly 3 years ago to Tokov. Triangle choke over Dominic Clark and a win over Dong. I think he's pretty good. I'm gonna pick him. I like the youth. I like the wrestling base. I think, he's going to be able to find Green's chin or even, just take him down and dominate him, maybe get a ground and pound stoppage. I can't trust Bobby Green, who's been looking as bad as he has in 3 of his last 4. And, his only notable win in the past 2.5 years is a Jim Miller win. Doesn't really hold much weight to me today. Let's get to the scale. You see Bobby Green here. He looks solid, don't get me wrong. But again, I think he's been clicked a little bit too much for my liking. He relies on his hands way too much. His defense isn't there. He's very cocky in his striking. This isn't, I think now, today isn't really the time for that. I think he needs to make adjustments. If he comes out and he looks completely different, then it's a completely different fight, and his pick could be erased. But from what I've seen from Bobby Green, always flashy. Line on that chin being as good as he thought it was, I don't think it's going to last today. So give me Lance Gibson. And like I said, there's no pick. I'll throw it up for you guys so you can see him on the scale. And here's the face off. Gibson looks really good. Really ripped, shredded, ready to go. The face off was pretty intense too. Decent respect between the two, but I'm rocking with Lance Gibson. I think he gets it done. And let's get to the odds. We got Lance Gibson plus 165, minus 190 for Bobby Green. Kind of, I don't know why he's such a large favorite. I would have thought the line would have been a little bit closer. What was Bobby Green in his last fight? Wow, he's a coin flip against Paddy Pimblett. Wow. 2-1 against Jim Miller. Minus 400 against Tony. Minus 250 against Jared Gordon. Wow. Coin flip over Paddy is crazy. Gibson plus 165. What is Gibson inside the distance? That's what I want to see. Plus 250. I think that's worth a shot. Bobby Green, TKO plus 190. If you get knocked out by Bobby Green today, that's kind of rough. Gibson submission. I think we just found the prop, ladies and gentlemen. Plus 650. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? How many submissions does this guy have? 3. Well, he's only got what, 9 for 10 fights, but 7 of them are by finish. Man, give me Lance Gibson. Give me Lance Gibson inside the distance, brother. Is you crazy? Plus 650 for a sub, though. I'm jumping on that right now. As soon as this video's done, putting that bet in right now. Yeah, give me Lance Gibson. I think he could find a finish here against a guy whose chin has been bad for quite a while. Let's get to the next fight. We got K.NZECHEWKU taking on Marcus Buchecha. I'm going with the African Savage. Round 1, round 2 knockout. Buchecha will sell out on takedown attempts, but he's not as vicious with it as a Walter Walker. And we saw what Walter Walker was able to do against Kennedy. Did catch him with a shot over the top to set up that heel hook. Buchecha doesn't have the striking to set up the grappling exchanges. He really just dives for him. And if he doesn't get it, he'll roll to his back and, oh, come on, let's play jiu-jitsu. But K.NZECHEWKU ain't having it. Don't get me wrong. Don't be surprised if Kennedy finds a submission himself. He does like that front headlock position. I think he got a submission over Devin Clark. I think was his first and only submission. Was it the Devin Clark? Yep, standing Gilly on Devin Clark. So, if Buchecha's trying to work in that clinch position, and Kennedy already has the height, 6'5", got really long, skinny arms. Don't be surprised if Kennedy gets a submission on Buchecha. Standing Gilly definitely makes sense if they're tying up. But from range, Kennedy should be tagging this guy up. Look for the body kicks. Look for the straight punches down the middle. I think Buchecha is crawling up in a ball, and it will be via TKO. So give me the African Savage to do what he does best, and that is put people's lights out. Damn, if I could speak. I'm rocking with Kennedy in this matchup. Here's Buchecha on the scale, 250 something came in. He looks pretty solid, right? Definitely looks better than what he did against Martin Boudet, but not looking like the guy that he was over in 1FC. But yeah, looks decent on the scale. Here is my guy, K.NZECHEWKU, looking pretty good since he beefed up and moved up to heavyweight. I think he's finding a finish round 1, round 2. Here's a face-off. You can see the height difference between the two. You can see Kennedy slightly larger. That reach, if Kennedy were to put his arm out now, he would be touching his chin. So not really, but, I'm just exaggerating it. I like Kennedy in this matchup. Really confident in him. Think he finds the button to click Buchecha, who, let's see, 5-2 in his career. Both losses by decision, but majority of his wins are from him getting the top position with the, with his ability to not necessarily wrestle, but I don't think he's really beaten a lot of good guys, I like Kennedy, round 1, round 2, KO. Let's get to the odds. We got Kennedy at minus 128. I think it's a discount. Plus 108 on the money line for Buchecha. Kennedy via knockout is inside the distance is plus 120. Knockout is plus 160. Buchecha sub plus 210. Yes, it's been bet down. Not really. Open at plus 210. NZECHEWKU submission plus 900. Plus, damn, it was plus 2,000. Yeah, people leaning on, you know, the read that I gave you guys. Zetsuku or fight ends round 1 plus 155. Zetsuku KO round 1 plus 500. Not bad. Over. I think we're going under 1.5. I think Kennedy gets it done with the hands. Let's get to the next fight. We got Morgan Charrière taking on Melquizio Costa. I've been picking Costa. I liked him as an underdog this week. But I will say, looking at the face-off now, the height isn't what I thought it was. They're damn near eye to eye. And on paper, you know, it's 5'8", 5'10", but I always thought Melky was probably like 5'11", somewhere closer to that. Morgan, I don't know if it's the hair, because he definitely grew some hair. I don't know if it's, you know, might be extensions or something, because the last time I seen him, he didn't really have the locks that he has now. So I think my boy got on some extensions. But yeah, the height isn't what I thought it was going to be in this matchup. I thought Costa was going to have a little bit more. I do like his kicking from range. I think he will be able to keep Morgan at bay for at least 2 rounds. I think he's straighter and cleaner with the kickboxing, whereas Morgan is coming through, you know, blasting heavy overhand, blasting power shots. Doesn't really attack the body a lot, which is something that I don't like, because he can miss big and overswing and get clipped, which is why I like Melky. I think his kickboxing is a little cleaner, but he will walk forward. He will pressure you. He does have the better wrestling, but I favor Melquizio's scramble ability and his jiu-jitsu to find himself in better positions. That 3rd round definitely can be scary, though, because he does, you know, pull down a little bit and allow his opponents back into the fight. You know, he let that happen with Erosa. He let that happen with C-Rod, and he got Philly out of there early. So that is a cause for concern, you know, on the Charrière side, who doesn't really have gas issues or anything like that. And for him to go toe-to-toe in a landwear for as long as he did, for him to, you know, scramble as much as he did in that Shepe Mariscal fight where it's a split decision loss, definitely, you know, put some favor on his jacket for me. Lost to Nathaniel Wood, got clipped there. Nathaniel Wood's really good, though. But yeah, I'm gonna stay with Melquizio, man. I like Melky. I've been pretty accurate on all my reads of him this year. If you've been following the channel, you know I called the Philly sub perfectly. I called the C-Rod decision, and I thought he would be able to get a Juicy J in his signature gilly, but ended up winning the decision there. But I'm gonna rock with Melky. I think he can win 2 out of the 3 rounds. So here's the weigh-in. Melky rocking, you know, the signature colorful hair, the polka dots, pink and the blue with the shades, looking pretty good on the scale. And here is Morgan, you know, with his dread extensions, the glasses, looking pretty beefed up at 145. Now here, it's not the face-off. It's actually, I didn't look at these already. It's Morgan on the scale again. And then it's the face-off. You can see here, Morgan looks a lot taller, or it's the dread extensions. I don't know. But definitely looks a lot taller than I expected him to. Looks, you know, beefier for the division. Melky's always been pretty lean and long for 145. He used to fight at 155. Last time he was there, he got knocked out by, you know, Steve the Mean Machine Garcia. But I think he's going to look good in this matchup, man. I think 2 out of the 3 rounds are going to be Melky's. And I think he wins a decision ultimately. Let's get to the odds on this one. We got Melky, slight favorite, -137. Open as a dog, +117 for Morgan. I do think we go over 2.5. -200. Fight goes the distance. Yes, I think so. I don't think we're going to finish in this one unless Melky's able to, you know, lock something sneaky up. I don't think he's going to get knocked out. Costa decision, +130. But I will say the money is on Charrière, especially if he can turn the tide in that 3rd round and maybe have a close, you know, round 1, round 2. So maybe a split decision prop isn't crazy. +475. Not the price that I was exactly looking for, but let's see. Charrière with CHARRIÈRE round 3, plus 900. COSTA round 2, plus 1500. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm gonna rock with Melky. I think it will be close, but I'm gonna rock with Melky. I think he could pull it off. I think he'll find the counter shots, with the Morgan pressure. I've seen a lot of his sparring videos. He's looking pretty good with the guys that he's been fighting. Granted, they could be trash, they could be not, but I've seen him handle some aggression in sparring videos, and I think he'll be able to replicate that success in this matchup. So give me Melquicio, the guy who I've been picking right all year long. I think he does me right. Pause in this matchup. Next fight, we got the featured fight of the night and half of the lock of the week. We got Cesar Almeida taking on Cezary Olejniczuk. The pick has been Cezary Olejniczuk via KO, but we're just taking the money line to get the parlay with the next fighter in the next fight. You'll get, we'll get there when we get there. But pick is Cezary, more complete MMA artist. I think he's cleaner down the middle. I think he's faster on the feet. I like the age, 25 compared to 37. Did not expect the height to look like it did in the face-off. He towers over Cesar Almeida. Almeida looked like, a welterweight compared to him. I think Olejniczuk, he can mix it in pretty well. He can take him down. I think he's just going to blast him with something straight down the middle. I think it's going to be a left hand down the middle. And we see Almeida sat, and we see Cezary follow up with some ground and pound. So I'm going Olejniczuk round 1, round 2 via KO. I think he's going to surprise Almeida with the speed and the power. And it's going to look a lot like, it's going to look better than a Kape fight. That was not a split decision. It was 30-27. Don't understand how Almeida even scored, 2 rounds in that fight. But I think it's going to look more impressive than what Kape did to him. And Olejniczuk will be a player up at 185. I'm really impressed with his tape. I think this is a really good debut for him too. So give me Olejniczuk via finish. Let's get to the scale. Olejniczuk on the scale looks pretty good. This is not his brother, although his brother will be in the corner Saturday night. Mikhail Olejniczuk, who also has a big fight coming up, fighting Marc-Andre Barriault. I called for a Barriault fight for somebody on the last card. I can't remember. But yeah, both the brothers get into action. So they've been training with the Fighting Nerds. I really like that camp. They've added some really good, fighters to their camp as of recently. Myron Santos being the most recent one that I'm aware of. Cezary being the next one. I think he's going to come through and get a finish. Here's Cesar Almeida. He looks 37, I will say. Shave the head, shave the beard. He looks like an old man. And let's get the face-off going. He made him look pretty small. Olejniczuk looked like damn near he was a 205er compared to Almeida in this face-off. Not, muscularity-wise, but the size and the head. He looks a lot larger than Cesar Almeida at the face-off. I think he's a lot taller than his brother, too. His brother, kind of small, stocky, got decent really good boxing. Cezary is way more complete than his brother, and I see a finish coming for Cezary. So give me Cezary. Like I said, round 1, round 2, KO. Money line, minus 205, plus 175 for Cesar. Under 1.5, plus 130, I think is solid. Definitely think under 2.5 is solid, or is the right way. Like I said, I got him via finish. Olejniczuk inside the distance, minus 120. Olejniczuk KO, plus 120. Sub, if you think he gets it done via sub, plus 600. Money line in the parlay is the way to go. I think Olejniczuk is the guy. I think he's going to make good. He looked really good on his Contender Series fight. I think he looks pretty good here. So give me Olejniczuk to win via finish. Half of the lock of the week. And in the co-main event, we got the other half of the lock of the week. We got Kevin Vallejos versus Giga Ninja Chikadze. I think Giga is a little washed, man. I got to be honest. I think Giga's washed. I don't think he has what it takes to keep this young bull off of him, because that is exactly what Vallejos is. I think Giga, all he has is the kicks. I don't think he has any boxing to keep up with Vallejos. I don't think he has wrestling that he can incorporate to keep Vallejos, off of him. I think it's really a setup because Vallejos, he can close distance really fast. He can get the hands going. He can rip to the body. He can rip to the head. I think Giga is going to be forced on the outside quite a lot, and there's not going to be much space for him to operate. I think it's going to be a disaster for Giga Chikadze. We could definitely see him stopped in this matchup, but like I said earlier this week, I just have the straight money line for the parlay, and the odds have definitely shifted. So if you guys didn't get in when I gave it to you, you're probably not getting the price that you would have wanted. But I think Kevin Vallejos is going to look really, really good in this spotlight. This is a really good spot for him. The co-main event for him to debut into the rankings. I think this is a perfect guy to do it against. I would have gave him, Calvin Kattar, but we had not Onama, Garcia versus Kattar earlier this year, so they're giving him, a little bit of a time off. Another heavy hitting, young and up and coming guy. I think that would have been, a disaster for him. But I think the older class of featherweights are on their way out. I think Diego Lopez is probably gonna, send another older gentleman out. Not out of the rankings, but I think he's gonna put him out. We'll get to that fight card, next year. But I think Kevin Vallejos is gonna look really good. I think he comes through, and we're cashing the lock of the week. Let's get to the scales. You can see here, I had to do my own. We got Giga Chikadze on a scale, looking pretty solid. Dude's always in shape. He's always ready to go. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to get the hair knocked off of his chest this weekend. So I really do like Kevin Vallejos in this matchup. Then you can see here, we got Kevin Vallejos. Dude is a tank for 145. He is lean, mean, ripped, and I think he's ready to go. He's got some really big shoulders too for this size. His head is ginormous. He bobs side to side, keeps his head off the center line. I really like that in this matchup against a heavy kicker in Giga. I don't think the body kicks are going to work. I think he's going to cramp and crowd the kicker and get his boxing going. So I really like Kevin Vallejos in this matchup. And here is the face-off. You can see, yeah, Giga has the height advantage, a little bit longer with the reach, but I don't think it's going to be a cause for concern for Vallejos. Somebody in the room was saying, boxing lives and dies in Argentina, whatever they were saying. And Giga, he broke the stare down. He looked at him. He told him, "Shut the fuck up." It was kind of funny, but I think Giga will be the one completely silent tomorrow after he is snoozing and looking up at the lights. So give me Vallejos to win, to stamp his debut in the rankings, to stamp the lock of the week and close the year out going 3 in a row on lock of the week. I think we coming through with a good one, man. So let's get to the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, drop a W in the chat, drop a 2026 in the chat, because this is the last fight of 2025. We got Brandon Raw Dog Royval taking on Manel Starboy Kape. I've been picking Kape all week. I'm going to pick Kape once again. I think the counter shouter is going to come through, and we're going to see Brandon Royval, hurt a couple of times in this fight. I do think he could get finished. Don't get me wrong. Brandon Royval has been finished before. He is a dog. He will walk forward. He will, throw a lot out there, but when he's in that pocket with you, exchanging his shots, he keeps his head on the center line. He doesn't have, a lot of head movement. Manel Kape, he can cut angles really quick. He can get his shots off and be out before you even get, you land one shot on him. The reason why, earlier this week, if you watched the prediction show, I was kind of, a little tipsy-turny on picking Manel Kape. It's because I remembered this Felipe dos Santos fight. But you have to take into the fact that it was a short notice step in for Felipe. He had no idea what he was being presented with. Now Manel Kape fighting Brandon Royval, This fight was booked twice. He knows what he's getting. He's seen more footage on him. He's seen how Joshua Van was able to counter him and drop him. I think Manel Kape has more power than Joshua Van. I think he is better from range than Joshua Van. Granted, you know, Joshua Van likes to smother guys and get in their face and get the boxing on. I think Manel Kape has a little bit more tools, at least from what we've seen, than a Joshua Van. I think the speed is just going to be too much for Royval. I think the counter shots are going to be too much for Royval. And I think we see Royval dropped a couple of times in this fight, maybe finish. So I'm going Manel Kape, Starboy, to stamp his title shot. I think Manel Kape, Joshua Van is a hell of a fight. Hopefully we get it. Not sure if we do. You know, Manel Kape could be. There's a Horiguchi fight right there. There's a Taira fight right there. There's a lot of things that can happen, you know, between now and whenever Pantoja comes back. If we get Joshua Van, Tatsuya Taira in Japan, which they're talking about. Dana didn't officially talk about it, but he definitely wants to go to Japan. There's a lot of elements that could get in the way of a Manel Kape title shot. And if Royval somehow wins, you know, he's got to win over Taira. I could definitely see them doing Royval versus Horiguchi. If, you know, Pantoja is able to come back early and the Japan card ends up lining up. There's a lot of funky things going in the flyweight division. Crazy to say that this division almost wasn't here, you know, a couple years ago. And now look at it now. One of the, you know, most exciting divisions in the UFC. But to wrap it all up, I think Manel Kape comes through, and I think he's going to win TKO. Oof. Kind of sucks to say that because I really do like Brandon Royval, but he takes a lot of damage, man. Now, a lot of concern on the titty for Manel Kape. You know, a lot of people saying he got gyno, similar to what Israel Adesanya had a couple years ago, if you guys remember. You know, real plumpy in the titty, but hey, man, could just be something else. You never know. I think Manel Kape looked pretty good on the scale. I will say, though, you know, he damn near missed weigh-ins. He had, what, a couple seconds ago or maybe like a minute or two left on the buzzer for him to weigh in. Was breathing pretty hard, so, you know, he literally just finished cutting weight, but made weight, 126. Maybe just needed all of the time. Maybe, you know, a 135 isn't too far out of the plans for him. Royval actually mentioned, you know, cutting or moving up to 135 a couple of fights ago, so it's kind of interesting to see that he's still down at 125. He doesn't really have unfinished business. Like, he's fought everybody there is, and, you know, now he's fighting Manel Kape. Maybe this is the last fight that he wanted before moving up, but he's not a big guy. He's pretty tall for the division, but he's pretty skinny. You can see it here, pretty frail as well. A lot of output. I think he might, you know, be a little bit more durable up at 135. So we'll see what's in the future for Royval. If he aces this test, you know, gets past Manel Kape. If he doesn't, but I'm picking Manel Kape for the last card of the year. You can see the face-off. Manel Kape was giving him a lot of looks, showing him he's going to be moving all night. And Royval was just, you know, locked in, moving forward. Face first, hand second, output heavy, Brandon Royval. But I think the counter shots are just going to be there for Manel Kape. Dude's pretty accurate. He's got good power. I like Manel Kape in this matchup. Manel Kape on the money line is sitting at minus 275. So low, you know, adjustment to the line. Plus 235 for Brandon Royval. Opened at plus 250. Manel Kape was minus 300, or excuse me, yeah, minus 305 it opened. But I like Manel Kape. He's in a couple parlays for us. Over 1.5 makes sense. Over 2.5, that's where I think things could get a little dicey. Manel Kape TKO or inside the distance minus 115. TKO plus 115. If you think Royval wins and doesn't get stopped, plus 500 via decision. If you think Royval can lock up a submission, plus 700. There's a lot to work with. Manel Kape round 3 plus 725. I think that makes a lot of sense. I really like that price too. I don't think it's gonna be super early. It could be though. I think Kape has power that a lot of guys are pretty they're not expecting it. And you know, with his movement style, he's in and out, he's darting in and out, he's moving around very fluently. I think he can put together a really solid performance here against a Brandon Royval and get himself back into title contention. But I think that Horiguchi rematch definitely makes a lot of sense with a Manel Kape. So there's a lot of interesting things going down at flyweight. But to wrap up the picks, I am going with Starboy in the main event. Let's get to my favorite section, your favorite section, the parlays, Makai's money making plays. We got a good little slate to wrap up the year. Trying to go, 3 weeks in a row where we're cashing some really good parlays. So to get it started, we got Vallejos and Manel Kape, -126. The Striker's Delight, chalky little play. Vallejos, OLEKSIEJCZUK, the lock of the week, +102. It's not plus money anymore. It's around like -105, maybe even -110 now. So if you still, want to invest, it's not a bad price. But, if you got in early, you got some solid value. Kennedy and Melissa CRODEN, +240 to fade the BJJ. Under 1.5, FRYE versus Pat, OLEKSIEJCZUK, Stephen ASPLUND, +250. COSTA and CRODEN, +295, doggy style. Kennedy, Asplund, Kape, under 2.5, OLEKSIEJCZUK versus ALMEIDA, +387. Vallejos, Kape, Kennedy, OLEKSIEJCZUK, Asplund, +550. Robertson, CRODEN inside the distance, +580. Oh, Canada, Kennedy KO, CRODEN, OLEKSIEJCZUK, +663. Costa, under 1.5, Pat versus FRYE, Kape TKO, and Kevin Vallejos, +890. AMOSOV inside the distance, Vallejos inside the distance, and the under 2.5, KNZECHEWKU versus BUCHECHA, +942. Kape TKO, OLEKSIEJCZUK TKO, and KNZECHEWKU TKO, +1308. And the Cycle Parlay, OLEKSIEJCZUK TKO, AMOSOV sub, and Costa decision, +1454 to wrap up the parlays for 2025 UFC, the last card of the year. Let me know what you guys thought of this card. Let me know what you thought was the best card of the year. Let me know in the comments what you thought was the best fight of the year. I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say. Let me know about the picks. Anything you guys want to comment. If you don't got nothing to say at all, drop a dub in the chat. It is a wrap for UFC in 2025, but it is not a wrap for the content. I got something coming before the new year. After Christmas, I'll have the picks for UFC 325 out probably the first week of January. So keep your post notifications on. I got content dropping. I'm constantly working in this mind of mine. So make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms. I'll be engaging with you guys there on X, on TikTok. I got a lot in store for 2026. I'll have more time to invest into this thing as well. So I'm looking forward to 2026. I think it's going to be a good year for the channel, for the picks, for the parlays, for everything that you guys get now. I think we're only booming in the near future. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys for the full card recap immediately after the card is done. And I'm looking forward to cashing another lock of the week to end the year. I think you guys are too. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.